The Warriors Code engineer First Class Tommy Reeves had always prided himself on his ability to fix anything, with enough patience and the right tools. What he couldn't fix, apparently, was his tendency to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The maintenance shaft above Deck 7 had seemed like the perfect route to avoid the Krillian delegation that had been touring the UES Harmony for the past 3 days. The massive alien warriors, each standing nearly 3 meters tall with their chitinous exoskeletons and 4 powerful arms, made even the ship's corridors feel cramped. Tommy had volunteered to repair the atmospheric recycling unit specifically to avoid any awkward encounters. He had not expected to accidentally witness the Krillian war commander Zeth Kara in what appeared to be a private moment of vulnerability. Through the maintenance shaft's viewing port, Tommy watched in fascination as the imposing alien warrior carefully removed pieces of ceremonial armor, revealing intricate scarification patterns across her carapace. But what truly caught his attention were the delicate, almost artistic movements as she performed what looked like a ritual. Precise gestures accompanied by soft, chittering sounds that seemed almost musical. Tommy shifted slightly to get a better view, and that's when disaster struck. His toolkit slipped from his grip, clattering loudly against the shaft wall. The sound echoed through the chamber below like a gunshot. Zeth Kara's head snapped upward, her compound eyes immediately locking onto the viewing port. For a moment, that stretched like an eternity, human and Krillian stared at each other through the reinforced transparent aluminum. Tommy's heart hammered in his chest. Krillian warriors were renowned throughout the galaxy for their combat prowess and their rigid honor code. Being caught spying on one during what was clearly a private moment was probably grounds for immediate execution, or worse, a diplomatic incident that could derail the peace negotiations between Earth and the Krillian Dominion. The war commander's mandibles clicked in what Tommy recognized as either deep thought or barely contained rage. Then she did something completely unexpected. She gestured for him to come down. Tommy's first instinct was to run. His second was to pretend he hadn't seen the gesture. His third, and ultimately the one he followed, was to reluctantly comply. He'd learned during his 15 years in the fleet that when you made a mistake, you faced the consequences head-on. The maintenance shaft access led directly into the chamber where Zeth Kara waited. Up close, she was even more imposing. Her scarred carapace telling stories of countless battles, her forearms ending in hands that could crush titanium. Yet there was something in her posture that wasn't immediately threatening. "Human," she said, her voice a deep rumble through her translator device. "You observed the Kethmara?" Tommy swallowed hard. Yes, ma'am. I was repairing the atmospheric system and I accidentally saw—" "Accidentally," Zeth Kara repeated, her mandibles clicking. "Your species is known for many things. Stealth is not typically among them." "I wasn't trying to spy," Tommy said quickly. What I saw was beautiful. I've never seen anything like it." The war commander tilted her head, a gesture that looked surprisingly human despite her alien features. "Beautiful? You found the Kethmara beautiful?" Tommy nodded, then realized honesty might be his only path out of this alive. "I've served on ships with dozens of different species, but I've never seen anything so graceful. The way you moved, the sounds you made, it was like watching art come to life." For a long moment, silence filled the chamber. Then Zeth Kara made a sound that Tommy's translator couldn't parse, a series of clicks and whistles that seemed to convey multiple emotions at once. "Human," she said finally. "Do you know what the Kethmara is?" "No, ma'am." "It is the warrior's meditation, a practice to center oneself before battle, to honor those who have fallen, and to prepare the spirit for whatever may come. Among my people, it is considered deeply personal. To observe another's Kethmara uninvited is a grave insult." Tommy's heart sank. "I understand. I'll accept whatever punishment. However," Zeth Kara continued, raising one of her 4 hands, "there is precedent in our law. If the observer can demonstrate genuine appreciation for the ritual's beauty and meaning, rather than mere curiosity or mockery, the offense can be forgiven." "How do I demonstrate that?" Tommy asked. Zethkara's compound eyes seemed to study him intently. Tell me what you saw. Not just the movements, but what you felt. Tommy took a deep breath, organizing his thoughts. I saw someone preparing for something important, maybe dangerous. The way you moved wasn't just physical, it was like you were having a conversation with someone who wasn't there. The scars on your arms and chest, each one seemed to be part of the ritual, like you were honoring them, remembering them. The war commander's mandibles clicked again, more softly this time. The sounds you made, Tommy continued, they weren't just noise. There was pattern, emotion. It reminded me of my grandmother singing hymns when she thought no one was listening, something sacred and private that meant everything to her. Zethkara was quiet for a long time. When she spoke again, her voice carried a different tone, less formal, more personal. Your grandmother's hymns, were they for her fallen as well? Tommy nodded. She lost 3 sons in the Proxima Wars. Every morning she would sing for them while she made breakfast. She never knew I used to listen from the stairs. And did you find it beautiful then as well? It was the most beautiful thing I ever heard, Tommy said softly. Even though it made her cry, Zethkara made that untranslatable sound again, then began to remove the rest of her ceremonial armor. Human Tommy Reeves, you have demonstrated understanding of the Kethmara. Your offense is forgiven. She paused, then added something that surprised him completely. Would you like to learn it? Tommy blinked. You'd teach me? The Kethmara is traditionally passed from warrior to warrior, but our codes also speak of sharing wisdom with those who show proper respect. You understand loss, honor, and the beauty in remembering those who came before. These are the foundations of the ritual. Over the next hour, Zethkara taught Tommy the basic movements and their meanings. Each gesture represented a different aspect of warrior philosophy: preparation, remembrance, acceptance, and hope. The sounds, she explained, were personal. Each warrior developed their own variation based on their experiences and losses. The humans have a saying, Tommy said as they concluded the lesson. Still waters run deep. I think a lot of species underestimate each other because we focus on the surface differences. Wisdom, Zethkara agreed. Perhaps this is why the universe brought you to observe my Kethmara, not as punishment, but as opportunity. When Tommy returned to his duties later that day, he carried with him more than just the memory of an alien ritual. He carried the understanding that beauty, honor, and loss were universal languages that transcended species barriers. The next morning before his shift began, Tommy performed his own version of the Kethmara in his quarters, honoring his grandmother, the friends he'd lost in service, and the alien warrior who had shown him that sometimes the greatest strength came from sharing vulnerability. Later, he would learn that Zethkara had reported the incident to both her superiors and Captain Morrison, not as a breach of protocol, but as an example of the cultural exchange potential between their species. The peace negotiations that had been stalling for weeks suddenly found new momentum, built on the foundation of mutual respect and understanding. Sometimes, Tommy reflected, the best diplomatic breakthroughs came not from careful planning, but from honest mistakes that led to unexpected connections. And sometimes being caught in the wrong place at the wrong time was exactly where you needed to be.